What is going on, guys? Jason Burke here, Styles Clash for life, coming at you on YouTube, and today I've got some football focus. The Pittsburgh Steelers won't stop making moves, so I can't stop making videos. I wanted to apologize to you guys. I never did this Pittsburgh Steelers Aaron Rodgers coverage because I was in the hospital with surgery when Rodgers signed with Pittsburgh, and then I was in the rehab clinic for a long rehab to walk again from scratch. My spine was worked on. So I have not been around, and I'm still very sore and not recovering super great. A lot of pain, a lot of neck tightness, texting is hard, things like that. So I have not been on here much to even talk about Aaron Rodgers. We'll discuss him another day, but yes, Aaron Rodgers is our quarterback for this season, and he now has more weapons and more names on both offense and defense that we need to talk about. Pittsburgh just completed a double trade with the Miami Dolphins, so we're back here once again. And I'm not going to go into a full deep dive on every single stat and every single season of these guys, but Pittsburgh just made a blockbuster trade and then extended that trade into something even bigger. So long story short, here are the quick terms of the trade, and I'll give you guys a quick stat overlay and a quick breakdown. But Pittsburgh has traded in total, combining the two trades together. Pittsburgh has traded Minkah Fitzpatrick, former All-Pro safety, former Steelers, one of our all-time safeties for a very short time. Minkah Fitzpatrick and a 2027 fifth-round pick for Miami Dolphins cornerback Jalen Ramsey, Miami Dolphins tight end Jonnu Smith, and a 2027 seventh-round pick. So Minkah and a 2027 fifth for Ramsey, Jonnu Smith, and a 2027 seventh. So a late-round swap in next year's draft. Not this year, but next year. That's what we got so far. It's very, very interesting. The first deal was player for player. It was Minkah Fitzpatrick traded straight up back to his old team, Miami, for Jalen Ramsey. This has been talked about for a while now, and it's very interesting. There are pros and cons to this deal. Obviously, you guys know I love Minkah. I think he was underused the first time in Miami in his rookie season. Came here in Pittsburgh for the first 2 or 3 years and changed the culture of the team, was getting turnovers, was the ace in coverage, was one of the best, if not the single best safety in the league for several years. But these last 2 years, he's really fallen off. He looked like he's slowed down a step. He looked like he's playing a little banged up. He still has his positives. Minkah out there is still a pretty solid guy in coverage overall. You don't hear his name for a safety, and that's not necessarily entirely a bad thing. And he is still a good guy as far as a tackler goes. Short tackler, doesn't miss a ton. Good guy in the run game, good chase and pursuit guy in tackling. But aside from being a short tackler, he's fallen back a step in everything else. Number one, he's giving up a lot more plays deep downfield than he ever has before in these last 2 years. He's not really around on impact downs anymore as far as tackling goes, and he's not making splash plays to make up for his big plays given up downfield. He's not getting interceptions. He's not forcing many fumbles. He's not around the ball nearly as much as he used to be, and he's obviously regressing. He's been on his way downhill. Could that change in a better system? I don't know. The system we have right now doesn't necessarily tailor to him as much as it used to, but we're seeing Minkah really fall off, and this could be the right time to get rid of him. It's never a great time to trade a franchise safety and a guy that was as good as he was for the first couple of years he was here, but he has not been as good since. On the other side, let's go to what we got for that trade, Jalen Ramsey. This one's interesting because we obviously had one big need at corner. You know, we picked up Big Play Slay, Darius Slay from Philadelphia. We got JPJ as our drafted corner from 2 years ago, who's very good and physical, but also holds and gets a lot of penalties and took a step backwards last year as far as being too handsy. Big Play Slay is very good, but he's in his, 10th or 11th year as a corner, so you're going to have him as a big upgrade in number 2, but he's only going to be around for a year or two. He's not going to be around more than 2 seasons, if not just 1. Jalen Ramsey, very interesting here. He has been in the league for 9 years now. This is going to be his 10th season, so he's also a short-term rental. Is he a major upgrade over a guy like Beanie Bishop? Yes, he's about as big of an upgrade as you can get. But to replace Beanie Bishop in the slot, a guy who played pretty well for his first set of games last year, then got replaced by Cam Sutton, who was back from suspension, and then Beanie came back in and finished the season making a few good plays before being benched again. It's been an up and down road, but for an undrafted player who got a lot of turnovers and changed a couple of games late in games last year, Beanie kind of got screwed over, and now he's getting screwed over again. But for a guy who's a proven veteran, let me give you his quick stat line. Jalen Ramsey I think he's played for about 4 teams. I didn't write that down, but I think 4 teams overall. In 9 seasons in the NFL, he's played 135 games and started 134 of those games. So very durable, very, not often injured, often on the field. In those 135 games, he's got 534 tackles, 27 tackles for a loss, and 24 interceptions. He is a 7-time Pro Bowler in 9 years and a 3-time All-Pro corner. So he's one of the best to ever do it. I mean, Jalen Ramsey is physical. He is a big beast. He puts his body in good position. He's one of the best corners at playing the ball in the air that I've ever seen. His hands are great as far as pass breakups, getting in the air, diving for the ball, putting himself on the line, getting himself in good position, knocking down balls that are out of his range, and picking off balls that most guys can't get to. The guy's got amazing hands. He can deflect in places that are outside of his radius, and he catches everything that's in his radius. Jalen Ramsey is a game changer. Is he a nickel corner, though, is one of the questions. They did give him an extension. He's making quite a bit of money this year, I think around $26 million. I don't know with the extra pay raise that he got. I think he got an extra $1.5 or $2 million added to his contract. I don't know how much of that Miami takes on and how much of that we take on. Same goes for Minkah Fitzpatrick's salary, so I don't know how the salary breakdown goes for us. So I can't say what his worth is as far as money goes this season. But he's usually an outside corner. I'm betting he can play inside, and I think that's where he's going to be. I think Porter and Slay are obviously outside guys. You could put Slay in the nickel, but I think Slay is better on the outside. And Porter I don't think can play on the inside. So Porter and Slay are probably going to be your outside guys. Ramsey moves to full-time nickel. Can he do that full-time at this age? I don't know. It's a good question. But either way, you're getting a great, great corner. And to get a guy now to trade Minkah, who's been going downhill and getting older, makes sense to me. You're still losing something with Minkah, and you're still on a short-term rental because now your cornerback room, while massively upgraded from last year, and one of the best corner rooms we've had in years and years, we plugged in our biggest hole on defense with one of the best corners in the league. We have upgraded now our biggest weakness last year, our pass defense and big plays through the air, by now adding big play Slay and Jalen Ramsey. That being said, you got 2 guys in 10 seasons in the NFL. Both those guys are going to be gone within a couple years. Slay's got 1 to 2 years. Ramsey's got maybe 2 years. So we are on rentals, and we have to see what we're going to do with the future of our corner room. Does this mean now we're giving up entirely on Beanie Bishop because we have our 3 veterans in there and Bishop's not going to play much and be getting benched for the 3rd time by the 2nd different player already? It also means Corey Trice is not getting a chance to start, barring injury or future retirement. But he's going to be coming to the end of his contract by the time these guys are gone, and he now looks like he's just going to be an extra, a 5th or 6th corner kind of a guy. So this does not bode well for Bishop or Trice, but it does upgrade the room and fill our biggest weakness with really big-name, physical, solid players. So you got to like that. The other part of that trade was picking up Jonnu Smith, who was an all-pro tight end last year. We picked up Jonnu Smith by trading a 2027 5th for a 2027 7th. So a late round draft pick swap for next year's draft to get a player the caliber of Jonnu Smith is pretty excellent. That is a pretty amazing value. That being said, it's still a bit of a head scratcher. I will say, going into Jonnu Smith's stats real quick, he's played in 8 seasons for I think 3 teams or 4 teams. 8 seasons so far in the NFL, 124 games. In that time, he's gotten 307 catches for 3,307 yards and 28 touchdowns. Jonnu Smith has a lot of upside. Last year, playing for the Dolphins, he had career highs the entire time. Got to his first Pro Bowl. He was a Pro Bowl tight end last year. Had career highs with 88 catches, 800 and something yards, and 8 touchdowns, playing for a pretty stacked Miami offense. Jonnu is a very athletic guy, gets off the line of scrimmage fast. He's a very good screen tight end. He gets a lot of screens and flash plays. He can also be involved in the end-around game because of how quick he is. He breaks a lot of tackles. He's underratedly strong for a guy his size. He's got pretty good footwork. He gets some separation. He's a solid route runner for a tight end. He's a matchup nightmare. He is kind of what the Falcons want Kyle Pitts to be. Another big positive is he's an Arthur Smith guy. Arthur Smith brought in that tight end last year, Mikel Pruitt, who didn't last. But he brought in another guy now who's played in his systems before. Jonnu Smith got used excellently in Tennessee. When he played for Tennessee, he was one of the biggest weapons there when Arthur Smith was the coordinator there. He also went and followed Arthur Smith to Atlanta when Arthur was the head coach and got more targets and more usage than Kyle Pitts did. So he's been now in 2 Arthur Smith systems, and Arthur loves and uses him as an athlete. So you're getting a guy that fits our system and creates matchup nightmares. That being said, it also doesn't bode well for the other tight ends on this roster. Pat Freiermuth never gets used to his fullest ability. Jonnu has now outperformed all of our tight ends, including Pat, in his entire time here. That being said, Pat never gets used anywhere near his fullest ability in this offense. Darnell Washington is a bigger, stronger, bigger blocking version of Jonnu Smith, not quite as athletic as far as pass catching goes, but has that big freak matchup nightmare kind of thing, and he never gets used as it is either. He was getting used on little small 5-yard outlet dumps last year besides being a blocker. And then you have Connor Hayward, who never gets used, and they signed Michael Pruitt last year. They signed another guy that got injured in preseason, and now they got Jonnu Smith. So they just don't want to use the tight ends they have on this roster. That means that Pat's going to get less usage, and that we're only going to use Darnell in blocking situations. He's going to be a third down running kind of blocker. He's not going to get as many plays, and he's not going to get as many routes, even as last year, which wasn't enough. And then Connor Hayward, his only shot to make it is fullback / special teams. Special teams tackler is what he's good at, and he plays occasional fullback. His flexibility and special teams ability might get him a spot on this roster as the fullback / 4th tight end, one of the 4th guys in one of the rooms, but he's not going to get on the field offensively at all either. So this does hurt both those guys, but it also gives Aaron Rodgers another safety valve as an athlete who can use the middle of the field. This, again, opens up the rest of the field for other guys. Jonnu's going to be one-on-one, giving himself a lot of opportunities, and it adds another genuine pass catcher to give guys like Calvin Austin more of an opportunity to step up as well. So both of these moves have ups and downs. Again, can Ramsey have durability with his age? How long is he going to be here? Is he worth the money at this age? Can he play full-time in the slot? That being said, he fortifies the room. Other side, Jonnu Smith. Yes, athletic, good matchup, good fit, good coach for him. He has all those things, but we don't use the 3 good tight ends we already have. Do we need another tight end? If anything, I would have liked to have seen this trade be for one of the Dolphins receivers. I would have loved to have seen, a young Malik Washington, see what he has. Jalen Waddle would have been a great wide receiver too. I think that would have been better spent for us. That being said, we did just add a genuine athletic weapon on offense and a big physical proven all-pro on defense. So it's pretty interesting. What do you guys think? Saying goodbye to Minkah, saying hello to Jonnu Smith and Jalen Ramsey. Tell me in the comments down below. If you guys want more deep dives on these players and their strengths and weaknesses, as well as more information with Aaron Rodgers, please tell me in the comments below. Please come back to this video, like, share, and subscribe. And I'm sure the Steelers are making another move right now as I speak. They seem to be all in this year in changing the culture, getting rid of old players, and bringing in new impact guys on short term because they are playing to win. And with Rodgers being on a probably 1-year deal, maybe 2, but probably 1, this could be the year Pittsburgh is trying to go for that elusive playoff win and a deep playoff chase. See you guys soon. Go Steelers.